between now and the election, there may be, there's likely to be a number of very dramatic events which could have an impact on how people vote. But as far as I can tell, those are unknown, unpredictable. But one very dramatic event, which was predictable and was, of course, required by law, is for presidential candidates to name their running mates. And although the deadline was last night at midnight, I believe, it was interesting and significant that all the three main candidates, there may be others who have applied to IEBC to be candidates. I saw a figure of 47 potential independent candidates who are trying to be cleared. I'm not sure how many will be, or how many got their papers in with their running mates by last night. But this all happened within just a 48-hour period, really Sunday and Monday. And of course, under the new Constitution, this is only the third election where presidential running mates have had to, presidential candidates have had to identify their running mates. In the old days, it was done after. And even in 2013, it was known for months that Uhuru Kenyatta would be pairing with William Ruto, and that Raila Odinga would be pairing with Kalonzo. I don't remember exactly how many months, but for quite some time. Remember, originally, that election was going to take place in December 2012, and the Supreme Court pushed it up to March the 4th of 2013. So we knew for quite a long time. Likewise, in the last election, it was a foregone conclusion that President Kenyatta would be running again with his deputy, and that former Prime Minister Odinga would be running again with the former Vice President, Mr. Kalonzo. So this situation of the drama was really unprecedented. And you people who are in the media business, of course, you were following all of the intrigues, the rumors, twists and turns, and so on. So that's why in the immediate aftermath of this, as Maggie said starting yesterday, we thought, let us strike while the iron is hot and see basically two questions. What proportion of Kenyans are aware of the identity of these running mates? And then asking about the presidential election contest, has this made any difference in just the 3 weeks since TIFA did its last survey? We start with political party alignment. We see, as over the last several surveys, UDA is the most popular party, followed by ODM. But we still have a considerable proportion, nearly 1 in 5, who said they don't identify with any, whether because they don't like political parties or they're just not interested. We have another 13% who said they're undecided, suggesting that once they see the final list of candidates, they may answer this question in a more specific way by naming a party, but they're not prepared yet. And then we had another few, 6%, who just declined to answer the question. They weren't interested at all. When we look at the popularity of parties across the regions, we can see that UDA is most popular in Rift Valley, which we have divided into 2 zones for reasons that we explained in the past, Central Rift and South Rift. At over 50%, those are outright majorities. ODM is most popular in Nyanza for reasons which are obvious, at 58%. The Wiper Party is most popular in Lower Eastern, which includes, of course, the 3 counties of Ukambani. And then what remains of Jubilee, only 3% nationally, but it has twice that percentage popularity in the Mount Kenya area of 6%. But as you can see at the bottom, reflecting the figures we gave you before, large proportions are either undecided, say they don't identify with any, and then a few who didn't answer the question. Looking at the trend over the last 2 years, since we started collecting this information, 23 months precisely, from June of 2020, we don't see very many changes in the last couple of surveys. the three this year, but as we pointed out in the past, the almost complete collapse of Jubilee from about 40% 2 years ago to only 3% now. We do see a slight decline in those who are undecided also. And a little bit of a decline in UDA from the last survey, from 37 to 29%, 6%. Keeping in mind the margin of error for this survey is about 2.5%, plus or minus. And even a slight decline in support for, and a slight increase in ODM support from 18% up to 7%. That's significant, which should give you a hint about how things have changed with regard to the presidential race itself. As far as the coalitions are concerned, sorry, some people are just coming, better late than never. And you can see the question at the bottom: which political grouping or formations, coalition, whatever, do you feel closest to support? Azimio has the plurality, and remember, plurality means the largest number in a group of numbers, but less than 50% plus one or more, at 38%, whereas just over a quarter, 28%, identified with Kenya Kwanza Alliance. Had nearly a third who said they hadn't decided or don't identify with any, and OCA on its own received support of just 3%. Now, when we looked at these results in terms of political parties, we saw, not surprisingly, that almost all of our respondents who said that they feel close to ODM, which as you saw in the previous slide was 29%. Almost all of that 29%, 96% of them said they also support Azimio. And among the 25% of Kenyans who identified with, 29% who identified with UDA, 85% of them also identify with Kenya Kwanza. Why the gap of 11%? Why are people who support UDA less likely to support the larger coalition of which it is a part than are those who identify with ODM and support Azimio? Whether those figures will decrease as we move towards the election and people begin to see that there have been deals worked out within the coalitions, maybe one candidate or another will step down so they won't split the vote within their coalition, allowing possibly the opposing coalition or party to win the seat. As these arrangements become clearer, I would expect those numbers at the bottom to go down, but we don't predict anything in this business. We just report what we've got. And then we came to the question of running mates. And the first question was, as far as you're aware, please tell me who is the running mate of presidential candidate Raila Odinga. Please tell me who it is of presidential candidate William Ruto. And who is it for presidential candidate Kalonzo Musyoka? And you can see in green, among all our respondents, that 85% were able to mention Martha Karua. Among those who had said, or who came to say that they were going to vote for Raila Odinga. Among William Ruto's supporters, only 69%, only 69%, let me back up. And the total population of all respondents, only 59% were aware or could remember, although it had just happened the day before, on Sunday, that Honorable Rigathi Gachagua had been announced by the Deputy President as his running mate. And far fewer of all our respondents, the 1,719, could mention the name of Andrew Sunkuli as the running mate announced on Monday by Kalonzo Musyoka. So these names were not read out. That's why we say correct identification. Not, are you aware that so-and-so has been announced, and people say yes or no, because many people would say yes just to look like they knew. So there was no prompting here. Now, getting to the red. Those who said later that they were going to vote for Raila Odinga, 90% of those people had mentioned Honorable Martha Karua as a running mate. Almost all, but not quite all. Somewhat fewer of those who said they were going to vote for William Ruto mentioned his running mate, only 69% of them. And that's a 21% difference. And among those who said they were going to vote or would vote for Kalonzo Musyoka, only 38% could mention his running mate. Now, I cannot give a definitive explanation for this. I will just offer my personal opinion and give two possible reasons that could explain why so many more of Raila Odinga's would-be voters could give us the name of his running mate, that is Honorable Karua, than could the supporters of the other two candidates. And I say there's two. Number one, Martha Karua has been in public life much longer than these two gentlemen. As was pointed out, I think she was first elected as an MP in '92. She served in cabinet. She's been the leader of Nar Kenya Party for quite some time. And even if she hasn't been holding elective office since she stood for the presidency in 2013, which also gave her a lot of publicity when there were 8 candidates, she is clearly, among everybody, a better known figure, as we saw. 85% versus 59% for Honorable Gachagua and just 21% for Sungkuli. And the second one, I think, is because of you people. The media attention, well, I can't blame you. There was so much media attention on the Monday event at KICC. It was like a public rally almost. There were many, many more people there than there had been at the Deputy President's residence or the other venue on Monday where former Vice President Musyoka announced his running mate. And because I had the television, unless I was watching live stream most of the time, the event at which the former Prime Minister announced his running mate, Honorable Karua, it went on for hours, and it started 2 hours late. So those are possible reasons why more people are aware of her as a running mate, but those are just my suggestions. I can't be sure. One thing I can be sure of is that in the coming weeks, if not coming days, everybody's going to know the identity of these running mates. They're going to be campaigning, they'll be on television, they may have debates and so on and so forth. So I expect that the figures for all of them, all 3 of them, are going to go up. Whether they'll reach 100% by the 9th of August, I don't know, but I think they would be pretty close to 100% by then. But as Maggie was suggesting at the beginning, we wanted to capture in this survey, conducted yesterday all day, whether in the very first, not even days, but the first hours of the announcement of these running mates would have any impact on people's voting intentions. So that's why we did the survey. And these are the results that we got. That 39% of our sample said that they would be voting for Raila Odinga as president and Martha Karua as his running mate. And slightly fewer, 35%, said they would be voting for the deputy president and his running mate. And far, far fewer, just 2%, said, as of now, or as of yesterday, they would be voting for Honorable Kalonzo Musyoka. We still have 14% who said they were undecided, 1% who said they wouldn't vote, whether because they're not registered or they have no interest in presidential election this time, and another 8% who wouldn't give us their voting intention.